some of you are aware of the Fast Roads program is funded in part by the stimulus plan and ran a great big internet pipe up Route 10 and brought the internet to lots of communities up that way. They just announced last Friday that they're making a similar initiative that will come through Surrey, Alstead, and Marlow. So I want to change that line to read $5,000 in a grant to match any grant that might exist this year to study that, not to pay for it, and another $1,250 to pay the consultant to write the grant. So that's my proposal. We don't get to vote on it tonight. The $12,000 from last year was to put all the emergency services radios except police onto the new cell tower, which you can see from the town office, thereby giving us more bang for the buck.
So that number will be 6,250.
61250.
1, 2,
6, 7, 625.
Right, that's what I thought.
That's what I recommend. You guys have the final say. Mr. Cartwright.
Yes, the SFA is telling me Southwest Communications, Southwest Planning pays our grants. We do all our grants. So why we gotta pay consultants to write a grant?
You don't have to. We're trying to set the stage for being able to. I don't have an agreement with Southwest to write this grant. This is information I received this morning. Maybe by the time February 1st rolls around, I'll be a little smarter and we can be more accurate with this. I appreciate the point. But Southwest doesn't know about this yet, but we do. I think it'd be cool because I think it'd be an opportunity to give some competition to Comcast and Fairpoint in this town. And what I read tells me that that's not actually going to effectively drive the price down, but it will improve the quality of service for everyone because they'll have to compete. That's my hope.
Joel, who's going to be on that line? I mean, what company? When you say it's going to be competition for Comcast,
the way the Fast Road program worked and works, it was basically developed by UNH. It's an open bid process. So any provider who chooses to participate can make a proposal to the holding company that built the infrastructure. I don't have the ins and outs of how that was financed. I know only that it was both public and venture capital money. And so far, UNH seems to think it's a smashing success. I don't have any anecdotal evidence that it is a success from Gilsum or people over on Route 10.
where's it going to come up?
Right up 12A?
12A.
That's the plan. No, that's not even the plan. That's the proposal.
Again, a lot of this is being spoken about tonight so that we can deal with it again in February and then hopefully deal with it again as an actual happenstance. DPW. Oh, I'm sorry, Kim.
I may have missed something. You do know that the equipment has not been moved over to the new tower yet. Okay. Because there will be some charges involved in that.
And we're still arguing about where the Cheshire County repeater will go, and it's not smooth sailing. We've been working on this for way too long and shown way too little progress. But the actual building is on the property.
It has electricity.
It's got wires coming out of it.
But also what he's saying, Joe, is probably we're going to have to pay to have the stuff put on the...
Right. I just put more money on it. We'll have to try to figure out from those who know what that might be for next time. I just put more dollars next to it for now. Okay. Thank you, Kim. You've been putting it off. Highways and streets. Ready now?
Putting it off.
Highways and streets, which goes, of course, page 9 and page 10. Take your time, review it.
$25,000.
Yep.
That equipment rental paid, the payment on our excavator is all paid off now.
So what are you looking for next?
I'm getting to that.
So why are you asking for another $25,000?
Because he's looking for something next that he wants to get to in a moment. Okay, go ahead, go with next.
What I'm looking for right now, I was looking for a used grader because our grader is 20 years old. I've got a number here, refurb our grader. The number is $42,000, almost $43,000. You need to add another $10,000 to that, just for hydraulic lines that are all. You can look right in and see the steel on 90% of them. So what I'm proposing is, you guys want to, look at a used grader, new grader, and try to get some numbers put together and use that money to make that payment. But the first thing would have to go through a warrant article, and it would be paid for in like 7 years or however.
So that $24,000 would come out of your budget and go on as a warrant article.
Yeah,
Yes,
The warrant article isn't in here.
no, but we're talking
we,
about.
that's what we're
Oh,
talking,
it's not gonna be put in this year.
Yeah.
yes, it can, because we're discussing it right now.
Oh, all right, so, you know,
Or
I'm
in
in favor
February,
myself
you can take it out.
personally, you know, when it comes to new equipment, you know, we've gone way overboard in this highway department on equipment. $50,000 to fix it. Because we have hardly anybody who can run it. We got Bob Perry to run it, that's it, nobody else. That's not my job, they don't run it. Our road up here on Pine Cliff Road hasn't been graded since end of summer.
Now, let me go back to that Pine Cliff Road. People up there on Pine Cliff Road, but you don't want that road graded. They want it left rough to slow everybody else down.
I want it graded,
You live on the tar.
but I go with it.
The people on the dirt want it graded left.
I don't know if anybody that's
What do I do?
And I think you do a great job on it.
Just grade it one direction.
Alright, okay.
But anyway, coming to the grader, having a new grader, I think, you know, we're not a construction company, we're a highway department.
Yep.
You know, we don't have to keep up with the town of Walpole or anybody else.
Nope.
You know, if we need grading work, we could even rent it, we could get hired, town of Langdon or town of Ackworth, come down and do our grading work, if it comes to that.
How many miles of dirt road do we have
44.
in one direction?
That's just dirt.
Is that grader broken or is
No.
it just?
No, it
What's
needs
the
some,
problem with it? I know you said the hoses.
I got a whole,
Does it steer? Does it still work and everything? I mean, what's
They
really
don't have
wrong?
operators run it.
And have you had somebody come and actually look at it?
Yeah.
yeah. Nortrex, come and look at it. It's got 10,000 hours on it. The motor may go a week, it may go forever. It may grenade in the morning, who knows? But 10,000 hours, everybody tells me, in the equipment industry, you better be doing something to it or else.
How about the center link pin?
That's on this paper, the reman the motor, the whole front end needs to be bored and bushed, a whole bunch of it. Rebuild center pins, the seat's completely junked, but that's not much money at all. Hydraulic pump, belts, couplers, all the hydraulic cylinders, a lot of them leak. Repacking them, the moldboard needs a whole bunch of work. That gets up to just $43,000.
What's the new one cost?
$250,000?
No.
450,000?
Well, there's new and there's what Dave's talking about. Dave's talking about used.
I've been looking all over for used graders. They're not out there. People don't have used graders. I got a number from Volvo and I got a number from John Deere, and I can't even get Cat to return my call. The number from Nortrax is $275,000. The number from Volvo is $212,000. This is just stuff I got today.
If you buy used, you're just buying somebody else's problem, because if you buy new, you're gonna get a warranty.
Right, and the new, a used grader that Nortrax had was $210,000, that was 5 years old. They had one that was 7 years old, that was $175,000. And they only will allow us $20,000 for ours on the trade, whereas Volvo will allow us $36,000 something.
So is this gonna make our dirt roads better?
It's
Do we
good.
have somebody to run it when it needs to be run?
Yeah,
We have Bob Perry, but when he's off doing the transfer station, you have nobody. Because your other full-time employees won't do it.
Michael
They're not qualified to do it.
of course he is.
Is it correct?
Michael can run it, but I try to keep him in the excavator.
How often do you use the excavator?
Would you like me to give you the hours on all of our equipment that we use per year? You just hang on a second.
While you do
Well,
that,
you're waiting, I'm not heard from this young man.
Alstead. I'd like to speak on a couple of points. First, Ackworth leases out their grade now, hires it all out. Their grader's 25 years old or more, and they're spending $35,000 a summer to get the roads graded twice. Just so, as far as hiring Ackworth to come down, that ain't too bad. As far as our grader goes, I've been a finished grader operator for 35 years for a number of major pavement companies over in New England. The grader we got, like David says, has 10,000 hours on it. The center pin's got a little bit of wear on it. I'm not gonna argue that point. 2 summers ago, we put $7,000 worth of tires on it.
Right.
Because you couldn't go. It's like running slicks on clear ice. It's my opinion, for the amount of grading that we do on dirt roads, we're not trying to grade to a 1/4 inch tolerance for paving airport runways, running automation, any of that. If we're grading a dirt road, we're grading the York rake over it afterwards, I think we can get a lot more time out of the grader we got by putting some money into it.
That's why I'm here.
So my other question is, what kind of warranty do we get by doing that refurb stuff? Is there anything they're offering that?
There's a warranty on the motor, that's it,
That's it?
nothing else.
For how many hours? What kind of extended life expectancy do you get for extending if you put that money into the repair?
I cannot answer that question.
That'd be
You answer that?
yes, it's, you know, what is it, 20 years old now?
It's
David?
20 years old.
19, 20 years old, so.
In
And
right,
it does run pretty well for its age.
yes, it does. This grader is in immaculate condition compared to the ones I've looked at that are 5 years old and 7 years old.
I have a question I've always wondered, how much mechanical work do you guys do in the department? Do you do quite a bit?
A lot. Except for big stuff we can't do.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because it seems like over the years, we're spending more money than, and maybe, I'm probably opening a can of worms here and putting it shop, but is it worth it to hire a heavy equipment mechanic who can also work on the town department?
Well, I don't.
Because we could solve almost all of this,
Yep.
it's a lot.
Yep. And we have been down that road before and it went nowhere. Hiring a mechanic that could also run equipment and do.
I know, I'm only mentioning this because Josh, my boyfriend, has thought about coming to approach you about that.
Yep.
Because Josh can fix anything. So, I'm just throwing it out there.
But the hours on the equipment. The excavator run 307 hours last summer. The loader runs 774 hours. The grader runs 390 hours. The backhoe at the transfer station, and we also use it other places, run 313 hours. And the roadside mower, we didn't get much use out of that. We only got 74 hours because of
Does that
the
include?
flood work stuff that we had to do in the beginning of July. So that screwed our.
Does that
mowing.
include idling time?
We have no, this is not idling at all. This is just, when we're not using it, shut off.
What's the guarantee on the motor if you had it rebuilt, if you had the diesel motor rebuilt?
I'll have to get that from,
Is it in hours or is it time or how many?
I'll have to get that from Nortrax, I can't
Okay.
answer that. Yep.
Customarily, it's in hours, 2,500 is a common number, but 2,500 hours? This is 2,500 hours.
It was kind of interesting when Matt put all this stuff up in dollars. At first I thought, I didn't think it was an idea that was gonna translate as well as he hoped. I think it actually translates a whole lot better than he hoped, certainly more than I did. When I saw the $200,000 assessment, my house is at about 180, so it's close enough for cartoon figure, and I saw highway department costing me $328. I don't remember which winter it was, but I know I paid Ronnie and Gendron almost that much money to plow my driveway. And anybody knows where I live knows it's not a very big driveway. And I'm not begrudging them the money, mind you, it was worth every dime, but it seems to be a pretty reasonable price, all things considered.
Moving on.
I just have a question on the department, the administrative wages, is that Dave's wage?
Me.
50,000 to
Yeah.
54?
Yeah.
So so it's roughly $4,000, and then if you go down to logging and inspection, is that where the town forest comes in and you get that extra, that?
I don't know how that's gonna work, I have not.
That's what it was told to us, so you're getting an increase of 45 plus.
No, we're putting that in Dave's budget. It's just for the time. It could very well be Mike. I actually asked him to deputize somebody to do it. It could be any number of people. It's the filling out the paperwork and who knows whatever else. So it's not going in Dave's paycheck, per se.
But it just seems like, $4,000, has Dave not had a raise for 2 or 3 years?
I haven't had a raise in 5 years, and neither has any of the help.
Why do we not approach this on a, like, social security, for instance, goes up 1.2% or something on yearly rather than wait?
Because we certainly could.
If that grader was in your own personal business, and you had the option of repairing it or buying new, what would you do?
What I would do first is go to the municipal bid website and see what we could actually get for it on the open market and make my decision from there. Because I'm darn sure it's a whole lot more than $36,000.
So what do you think, Glenn? Glenn Alstead is the one that kind of turned this on the municipal website. For those of you who don't know, what it does is it allows municipalities to sell their stuff on the internet, which is, so far, the couple of times we've done it, it's really worked out very well for us. What do you think we might, what would be the reserve you put on it? Because we put a reserve on it.
Well,
60?
they suggest not to put a reserve on it, but you can refuse all bids at the end anyway.
Okay, let's pretend.
So it doesn't matter. I did a little quick research, I haven't had a lot of time lately, but, anywhere from 30 to 45, somewhere in that area that I've seen a lot of that stuff go for. A lot of the stuff that I see on there right now is old stuff. And it also depends on how you present it to them too, by taking good photos and everything else, and I think that's why I got a lot of money for that tractor, because you do a good job on describing it, and you get good money.
So we should put 50 in it and sell it for 130.
It depends, we need to weigh out all the numbers back and forth. I mean, like Dave said, maybe if we get another 5 years out of it, we put the $50,000 into it, you do the math on it, $10,000 a year.
I'm fine with that.
So I mean, you gotta do the math both ways,
Yep.
So are we looking at a way to?
One second, we got a hand up there, I'm sorry, behind you.
Big testimony out there and stuff. You're talking about this roadside mowing machine, if you're not using that thing, everybody's complaining about all this money and spending. Trade both of them. Come out with a new grader. You're not using that roadside mowing machine, it's sitting there rotting.
This year.
This is the first year we haven't used
Go
it.
back to renting it.
We usually do it 250 hours.
Come out with a brand new grader, use the grader more than you do the roadside machine. Sell them both.
You know, they have an attachment that goes on that grader that does roadside mowing, but you have a heck of a time to get it. And it runs on the yard.
There it is, there's the answer.
All right.
Order both, you got one less machine to make.
Not a bad idea.
We can talk about it.
Are we looking for an opinion if we want to have that grader on a warrant article or not? If that's the case, we can take a vote here tonight.
We are, but it would be nice if we had more numbers for that. I'm assuming.
Compared to what he was talking about rebuilding and new,
Right.
rebuild.
We're still looking for used though.
Okay, but the numbers we have tonight, rebuild.
Yep.
Put 40 grand in it.
Well, that 40 grand would be more like 52 or 53, because there's no hydraulic lines at all on the
Compared
end.
to
Pretty much
275.
every one of them needs to be
Right.
replaced.
I agree.
A lot of money.
Tend to agree.
Just my personal opinion, but if you're looking to spend money on a grader and you're thinking rebuild versus buy something else used, you know what you got to deal with, with what we own.
Yep.
If you put money into it, you know what you put into it. You buy something else used, you gotta take it as whole.
Right. Well, Dave will tell you, a couple months ago, we were talking about this, we were up at the shed. I said, how do you feel? I said, you love this grader? He said, I love it if it didn't need what it needs. I said, then let's talk about building it.
I would recommend putting a seat in it, just so I got a long route, I'm pushing it down the road, and the seat is.
I'm glad it hasn't affected you at all. All right.
On the hydraulic lines, after being in the construction, refurbishing, and been for 25 years, you replace those when they go, you just don't do all the hydraulic lines all at once. That's just a huge expense. I mean, if they're worn through, leaking hoses are one thing, but worn through in different spots and not broken and all the way through.
There's few things in this world more dangerous than a hydraulic line that snaps.
We've had a couple of them break out on the road, so.
I don't wanna be next to it when it goes.
This is the original line, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else? What else we
So
got?
I think I understand the sense of the meeting, which is to rebuild the existing. I'll remind you that this is a hearing, the rubber meets the road on February 1st, and then on March 11th. So hang on to that idea, let's turn it into a warrant article and go. You'll get some information about the warranty. You might come back to the meeting with a couple of examples of used machines. We can have a version of this conversation again and see where we want to go as a town. I love
Today
it.
is the last day of the warrant article.
No. Petition warrant articles were due today. February 1st, which is a Saturday, is the deliberative session where we collectively make the budget that turns into the ballot. So this is a hearing where we hear each other, but we're not voting on anything tonight. We're just exchanging opinions and information.
Okay, more on the DPW, or are we gonna go to street lighting?
I can go there.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how many, cell phones that DPW has?
How many cell phones do you have?
Or do you have pagers, did the budget?
We used to have pagers and we all went to cell phones now. We have 3 cell phones and the fire department pays for 1 cell phone.
I'm just asking because I would imagine that we probably qualify for state pricing, you know, on US Cellular.
We have a plan with the police department. It's all one big, I don't know if
But
there's
I
anything
suggest
better
that
or
we
not.
look into state planning because it's a lot cheaper.
State pricing.
State New Hampshire, we would qualify like the city of Keene, part of, and you don't have to be contracted. You just automatically get state pricing. So it's flat for the phone and then you only pay for minutes used because we're a municipality and it's extremely
Why do
reasonable.
we need the cell phones though? I mean,
Thank you.
I think my pager costs $50, it's $100 a year, unlimited pages.
Cell phone would even be cheaper.
Would it?
Now, those cell phones,
I
are they
mean,
flip phones or are they
Twenty-five
smart phones?
phones and my.
If that's the case, then give it all the radios, we pay.
And not only that, with our smartphones, we can also look up a whole bunch of stuff
Oh, yeah.
on here that,
No,
we don't have no
contract-
computer at the
they're contract-
highway garage either,
smartphones.
so, you know, that's.
The contract
So I
price
should
is
call the
smartphone.
US Cellular.
Okay?
What's that?
Thank you, I appreciate that, by the way. More DPW, or is it on the street lighting? Which used to be a real hot topic, it's kind of faded over the years.
Now, if we refurb this grader, that money needs to come from somewhere, other than, because I don't have it in my budget. So,
25,000.
that's part of it, yes. That's,
Do you have to do it all at once, or can you spread it out over a couple of years?
How about your reserve?
is that,
Take it out of your capital reserve.
no, that don't work,
Why don't it?
because you can't take it out of capital, that's for equipment, not for repairs.
You're repairing equipment,
That,
Right, it's for new equipment,
that's right.
replacement equipment, not repair.
Well, actually, you're both right. The meeting, not the selectmen, the meeting has the authority to change the purpose of any individual capital reserve fund. The bar is set very high to 2/3, but we can do it. We have the authority.
But you'd have to do it this year, and then next year you could do it there.
Now, on this grader, if we do put it on as a warrant article, we could, and we buy a used one, the first payment could be taken out of the capital reserve fund upon
Right.
the purchase of that grader.
That's true.
That is my interpretation. All these things get run by DRA. When the warrant is final, we send it off to Concord and hope the language is right, which it has been.
Well, what I'm asking is you people in the room between now and February, decide what you would like us to do. I really don't care.
They'd like to rebuild it right now.
Let me know then, and that's what we'll do.
Will you be able to provide more minutes in your February meeting?
Yes.
Probably gonna do it all this year, you know? Over the winter, well, it's not doing anything, it'd be a nice thing to get done. One shot, you know?
I think that's not quite, we're coming off without cuts significantly, that's never gonna get back. You know what I mean? You put all this stuff on the warrant article, I don't think we clearly understood what it's gonna cost. I think that's what happened.
up Pleasant Street, back in the pit. If you come downtown and Millet Green is lighted up like a carnival. Where is the saving? Why are those lights on when lights on the streets would be more effective?
Marcello.
Sorry, I wasn't. Didn't hear the point. Millet Green is all lit up and the residential streets are dark. Is that good or bad? Well.
You sound like you're on the spot.
I think having the Millet Green is not always lit. I think it's just temporarily lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, it's not always gonna be lit. And so, we've been, yeah, but that, it's not lit up year round. I think what happened over most of the year was it was not lit. And we've had, okay, vandalism has been fine. Knock on wood somewhere, because every time I say something like that, it changes. But so, I'm okay without the lights. Okay, thank you.
Is the plan for high
One of those that the road is private public. Okay. Sanitation, the transfer station, which rolls over to the next page as well.
What's the current arrangement with Langdon, and what are we, how's that gonna work for the next year?
So far, Langdon seems thrilled with it. We expect it to continue, and it's doing well. We're hoping to get and under the warrant articles, we're hoping to get a capital reserve set up for the transfer station because it's got future expenses as well. And we would hit Langdon up to help us fund that in some way. We're gonna figure out how the money flows, but we hope they would help us with that too.
Is that done on a per head basis per town?
No.
Well, that's part of the math. Right now, it more or less is.
Yeah, it's 35,000 a year.
Yeah. Right now, it more or less is, yeah. It is actually not exactly that way. So we'd have to try to figure out what we would ask for capital reserve and then put down for proper percentage in addition.
Or just add it into their fee.
Well, that's part of the deal. And then doing the math about how you put that in there and the legalities of that. Go ahead.
The total amount for the sanitation, that doesn't reflect the money they make on it.
That's right. It does not.
How much is that, just roughly?
You've got it right in here.
So transfer station fees collected $10,684 each. And then from NRRA, payments for recycling, $15,062.77. And then Langdon pays $35,000 for their participation, and the total revenue from the transfer station is $60,746.77, which could offset every penny we use. That works. The revenue side.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question, and it's in regard to the transfer station. As you know, the Shriners collect the pull tabs, and I was wondering if the town would have a problem with setting up a 5-gallon pail by the aluminum cans to drop these tabs in. It would be maintained by a Shriner. Every week you pick them up, and then once we get those, we have an agreement with Alcoa, and Alcoa then pays us X amount of dollars, so we can use that money for making braces and everything else that the kids need.
You all right with a 5-gallon bucket by the tin cans, Ernie?
As long as somebody's there to move it before the day is over.
Well, it'll be hung on a nail.
Well, the tractor's gotta get in now.
Oh, I'm just talking a 5-gallon pail like that.
I think we can probably work this out, and I'll drink to that.
Yeah. Give me your tab first.
Sounds like a win-win.
I think, Ernie, today, we're talking about some different things, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ernie, but between what C&D cost us and what we took in, it ended up costing us for the year $400 more than we took in, correct? So that's pretty hard to beat that for breaking even, which is what I think government should do.
Is there any benefits paid out? Is there any benefits paid out in there too? I mean, this is just.
Well, that's just the C&D, that's the construction waste and things like that. What I'm trying to show, and it happens with most of the things that Ernie's doing here, and the good work of his help as well.